Going beyond roads and bridges, Democrats weighing a $6 trillion with a T infrastructure plan that could also fund Medicare expansion and immigration reform.
Here with her take, South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Good to see you this morning. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, and thanks for having me on again.
Of course. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull up here what they are considering in this $6 trillion spending package. As you see, that includes expanding Medicare eligibility, legal status to some illegal immigrants, lowering the cost of prescription drugs, addressing climate change threat, addressing the housing crisis. Again, it goes back to the argument of what are they considering as infrastructure? Do you see this going anywhere?
I don't. Well, in the House, it'll go somewhere. We spent all hours of the night debating it, and Democrats wouldn't let Republicans pass any nonpartisan and bipartisan infrastructure amendments. But when people are sitting in their cars to go to work or they're taking their kids to school, they're not thinking about art, sculptures, landscaping, or high-speed rail in Nancy Pelosi's backyard when they think of infrastructure. And that's the problem here. And the Democrats have had to rename this package multiple times over to try to sell it to the American people. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. You don't want the government to waste your money in this way.
Speaking of money, when asked about the cost, Bernie Sanders said, "Don't overthink it." Please overthink it first, Congresswoman. What will this do to our future if somehow this gets passed, all $6 trillion of it?
Well, the way we're going with inflation right now, we're going to see the worst inflation that we've seen since World War II. And inflation is taxation. We've already seen groceries go up over 21%. Gas prices are up, for me, I know, almost $1 a gallon since the first of the year. Lumber, we know, is up 381%, making the cost of all houses within the last year go up by 30%. And so as this starts to hurt the American people and their wallets, it's going to be troublesome for the administration and especially for Democrats in the House when they try to get reelected in 2 years.
All right, let's talk about this now. The House voted to repeal the 2002 authorization for the use of military force in Iraq. This is almost 2 decades, by the way, after the resolution was first passed by Congress. There were 49 Republicans. You were one of them to vote yes on this. Tell me why you decided to vote on this, and also why you think that there's a difference in the amount of Republicans, because only 10 had supported it during last year's House vote.
Well, it's really time. It's been 2 decades since the 2002 AUMF. I come from a family of veterans and soldiers and support our military. And so it's not really about that. It's really more about giving Congress the power to go to war. And that's explicitly stated in Article 1 of the Constitution. And Congress has lost sight of that over the last 2 decades. And we've seen the 2002 AUMF be abused by Republican and Democrat presidents alike. So this is a nonpartisan issue. If we're going to go to war, then Congress ought to have a say. We ought to give the parents of kids who are going to war, they ought to have a say through their representatives.
It's not only a bipartisan issue. It is a very, very difficult issue that does create some strange bedfellows, but is a very personal decision as well. Quickly, in the 15 seconds we have remaining, are you worried that this will hurt American readiness in the region?
I don't. I think we have the opportunity to strengthen American readiness if we can put and devote some resources, additional resources, to training our troops before they go overseas. We saw General Ming in China threaten the United States and Japan earlier this week. We've got to be ready for any conflict that comes our way or elsewhere in the world.
Okay. Congresswoman Nancy Mace, thank you for getting up early with us. Appreciate it. Have a good day.